Have you ever wondered what it would be like to go back in time? Have you ever turned pages in a history book, looked at the pictures and tried to imagine? This exact nostalgia sentiment was what drove a Berlin based company called TimeRide to make an experience worth having using virtual reality.
At TimeRide, we're doing something that's called edutainment. It's a mixture of education and entertainment, and basically it is around the idea that we want to really make history experienceable.
Throughout 3 different stages, TimeRide takes you on a virtual trip to the German capital of Berlin 40 years ago. Berlin was still a divided city, split into east and west by a wall which dictated life. Unless you're the Flash or Neo from the Matrix, time traveling doesn't work. However, TimeRide is able to create the perfect illusion through the lens of virtual reality.
We want to create a 360-degree. We want our guests to be able to look behind them, look above, look everywhere, and really see what was going on there. So that is something that's only really possible with virtual reality.
Visitors are no longer just observers. They are part of 1980s Berlin, a time many tell tales of. While the city offers a lot, TimeRide focuses on the era of Berlin's biggest upheaval, before the Mauer fall, when one city had 2 worlds. Of course, we wanted to try this as well. So let's start the tour. The first part of the experience takes us directly to a replica of the Berlin Wall, where cracks are filled with both scenes from the conservative East, but also images from a more experimental West with rock and punk culture. The footage takes us through the intensely energetic decade all the way to Erich Honecker, the Trabi, David Hasselhoff, and 1989, the year the wall fell. Walking along the wall, watching clips, you really start to think, how was it to live during that time?
We did choose this specific time frame, especially because when we found this location and it was so close to Checkpoint Charlie, it was the first choice. So the 80s was always one idea, one of many ideas, but yeah, Checkpoint Charlie connects that pretty well to the wall, obviously.
Dipped in history, we are ready for phase 2, choosing a tour guide for the virtual bus ride. The audience is introduced to 3 contemporary witnesses who grew up in divided Berlin. 2 East Germans and 1 from the West. Each character presents a brief overview of their life and challenges they went through. Of course, we chose the metalhead West Berliner who was traveling to the East. With our tour guide ready, we enter a 3rd room which looks like a bus from the 80s. Each seat has a pair of VR glasses with integrated headphones. We're told to put them on and wait for a few seconds. Now, let's time travel. The VR tour starts in the west, ready to cross Checkpoint Charlie, the world-famous border control point, onto the east. We cross the area of Friedrichstraße, then on to GDR's magnificent Leipziger Straße. We turn into the government quarters with a beautiful view of the iconic TV tower of Alexanderplatz. In the end, the bus ride ends at Schlossplatz with the still preserved Palast der Republik hosting GDR's parliament. Terminus, please take off your glasses, says a friendly staff member of TimeRide. Wow, this felt insanely real. After the overall 45-minute tour, we were not the only ones who were blown away by this virtual experience.
Yeah, you can move the head and you see around, and I think it's very real.
Es ist quasi, ich sag mal, so ein Reboot der Erinnerungen, ja, die da angeregt werden. Und man kennt die wirklichen Bilder und die VR-Bilder. Die sind natürlich nicht 100%ig realistisch, aber doch relativ nah dran, sodass die Erinnerung wieder geweckt wird.
I have been always dreaming about like traveling through the bus, and I have to say that it was really real. It felt pretty real.
Well, I would say the only thing was that the people, they looked a little unrealistic, but obviously that's technology. But the buildings and the sites that were made, I was blown away, honestly. A little lost in time and space, we suddenly looked at Berlin differently. Having seen that very real visual representation from 3 decades ago, the German capital with its turbulent history seems to be the prime example of unifying 2 conflicting worlds.